Okay, so we are continuing the series of In the Beginning. I want to start off by reading you this, okay? God created sons and daughters in his image. That's you and me. In a visible world, a visible universe, it was God's idea to share his invisible kingdom with his offspring, which he called mankind, and gave them his nature and characteristics. The foundation for appreciating God's motivation here is to understand that his intent was to share his governing authority with his children. Okay? You are God's highest form of creation. You are God's child. Okay? And he wants to have a relationship with you. Now that statement has been shrunk down into nothing but petty religion, right? You do this, this is what happens. You do that, this is what happens. We treat the Bible, we treat church like it's religion. It was never supposed to be religion. God wanted to expand his invisible kingdom into the visible kingdom through his influence. He wanted to do good in this world through you and through me. But because people did not understand his intent, they have used things like even the Bible, church, or certain things like that to hurt people. I acknowledge that. There is that in there. Okay? But the goal here is to present to you all of the principles that God has given you and me to be able to rule, to reign, and to succeed in everything that we want to do. And in everything that we do. Okay? Now, I want to challenge you to, as much as possible, memorize what I'm about to read here in a little bit. I want you to write it down. I want you to pause this video, write it down, and I want you to memorize this because this is our goal. This is what we're supposed to do as children, okay? You did not come from a worm. You did not come from an ape. If you want to believe that, go ahead. That is up to you. But if you believe that you came from an ape, your created value is going to be different. You're going to see yourself different, okay? Than believing and knowing that God, the God of this whole universe, created you like him. It's going to be different. You're going to walk differently. You're going to talk differently, okay? My friend, you have incredible potential. And I'm here to show you what that potential is. I'm still scratching the surface of it. I'm still tapping into what he's given us. Okay, so here's what it is. Now, God wanted to extend his invisible kingdom to a visible earthly realm for the purpose of colonizing that domain to be like heaven. God wanted to colonize this domain called earth to be like heaven. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that we just grab people and tell them, you have to believe in the Bible, you have to believe in the Bible? No. That means that we walk out like him to influence people to be like heaven. What does that mean? There is love in heaven. There is peace in heaven. There is abundance in heaven. There is health in heaven. Those are the things that are up there. Now, our job is to find out what is there. Our job is to find out how we're supposed to do it by the modeling of him. How did he do it? Right? Again, this is not religion, baby. It's not religion at all. It's like when you learn something and you have to have a role model. My greatest role model is him, right? He is my role model. He is my everything. He is my father. He is my Lord. He is my king. He is my everything. Now, that doesn't mean I'm perfect, but that means that when I look to something to help me, to someone, it is him, not religion, not church. However, I do love church. I love having community with other people. But that was not necessarily God's intent to save humanity. Now, I need to break that down, okay? Because that I just said a mouthful right there, okay? Because the church has a purpose. They do. Just like you have a purpose. But you alone are not going to save the world, okay? The church has a purpose. But God's purpose was greater than the four walls of the church. God's goal was to help the world. God wanted managers. He wanted his children to manage the earth and to share his love. Okay? And we're going to show you what that means. Now, this is what I want you to memorize as much as possible. God wanted us to have dominion. He said, let them have dominion over the earth. He wanted you and me to have dominion. Now, our job is to find out what dominion means. Here's what I need you to understand as much as possible. Dominion is to establish as a sovereign, kingly ruler, master, governor, responsible for reigning over a designated area or territory with the inherent authority to represent and embody as a symbol the territory, resources, and all that constitutes that kingdom. You're going to have to pause this video and rewind it because that's a mouthful right there. Okay? But you were created to be a sovereign kingly ruler. Does that mean that you're supposed to rule over people? No. Never does it say in his word that you're supposed to rule over people. It says that you're supposed to rule over the earth, over circumstances, over your environment. Okay? You're supposed to rule over them and not allow them to rule over you. Okay? So, by doing that, you have been given responsibility to reign over a designated area or authority. What is that area? That area is your body, your mind, your spirit, your home, your neighborhood, your city, your state, your family, your workplace. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go and fly across the earth to another place to save other people. If you're called to do that, great. But you have to start where you're at. Your dominion, your authority has to be exercised where you're at. And you're supposed to embody, that's the key, embody as a symbol the territory, resources, and all that constitute that kingdom. You're supposed to be a symbol for that kingdom. Okay? Here's the problem. The problem is we don't know what constitutes that kingdom. Some of us have tried, and some of them have done a very horrible job at it. Others have done an incredible job at it. My goal is to do a great job at being a symbol for that supernatural heavenly kingdom here in this world. What does that mean? That means that I want to embody him and everything that represents his kingdom in this earth through love, through helping people, through showing him what it looks like by applying those principles in my life. Now, I want to tell you that everything that we do, everything that we talk about, it's not just a theory. It's not just something that you just, I guess. That's why our goal is to help spiritually minded entrepreneurs to take authority over their mind, over their wealth, and over their health by helping them use what they already have. You don't need anything else in this very moment. You have everything you're ever going to need to go to the next step. But you cannot get there until you use what you've been given. It is a principle. From this moment forward, when I say a principle or a kingdom law, I'm referring to all of the laws that God has established in this world so that we can operate in. And if we operate in those laws and those principles, we're going to get a specific result. Okay? In the next video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story of when everything changed in my life. And once again, I want you to rethink the way you look at religion. If you are a Christian, if you believe in something, right? Whatever it is that you believe in, I want you to consider the things that I'm talking about right here. Because you will be able to prove everything that I'm talking about. Now, before you argue with me or the ideas that I'm presenting to you, I want you to ask yourself, how are you doing? How is it working for you? Before you start and go and argue with people, you need to ask yourself the tough questions. How is it working for you? And if it's not, you might want to consider the ideas that are being presented to you. Now, if you have always hated religion, or if you have always been presented with religion the wrong way, I want you to really pay close attention and ask yourself the tough questions that we're talking about here. Because we're presenting to you this thing called faith in a completely different way. This has nothing to do with religion. This has something to do with a king, a God that created a family. That family is supposed to rule and reign over this earth by utilizing the things that he has given us. Okay? We'll see you in the next video.